Okay, we're live. All right, welcome to Star Wars. Those kooky Star Wars. Those crazy Star Wars far, far away. Oh my God, man! Twitter is already turning into a freaking dumpster fire. Anyway, so they premiered Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Oh, by the way, welcome to Nerd Culture Clash, everybody. I'm Comic Book Bob. That's Tom the Immortal One Cummings, and then down there is Fine Ass Frank. And let me drop for anybody else who wants to come in here and post already. My computer is having a hard time today, guys. It's old. And
operator error.
It's what?
Operator error.
I have no idea what that means.
Bite me, all of you. Anyway, so the rise or fall of Skywalker is 2 days away. And a bunch of people have already seen it. And they're weighing in, and it's The Last Jedi all over again, man. There's people, I mean, I've seen, honestly, though, I've seen a lot of people that have come out and said, it's not terrible,
right.
It's not great. Some people are like, it's the best thing ever. And some people are like, it's literally like the physical embodiment of cancer. We'll find out. I'm gonna go see it. I'm probably gonna go see it Friday. I'm really tempted to go see it on Thursday though, just so I have a little bit of a jump. But before we get into that, I actually wanted to posit a question to you guys. So I went on Black Angus's podcast. By the way, Black Angus is a really good. He's a really good dude. A lot of fun on there. And we got to talking, and we got on the subject of Wonder Woman. Now, obviously, we did our video about Wonder Woman last week, and we talked about the leaks, and we talked about how the trailer lined up with the leaks and how the movie looked like. Because of that, it looks like the movie's going to be awful. And then I talked about how, like, everybody else who's watching this trailer, they love it. They're like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic.
Well, if all you're seeing is a trailer and you don't know about the leaks, then yeah, it looks great.
Well, somebody brought something up for me though. He said, okay, so you watched the leaks, and the leaks obviously were
you can't watch the leaks.
Well, you read the leaks and then you looked at the trailer, and he said, but that kind of poisoned you to the trailer because you're looking because here's the thing. You could take any kind of leak. You could take leaks of any kind for any movie, regardless of how good or bad the movie is, and you can make the movie sound awful.
Oh yeah,
so the way the leaks are worded, the way maybe the movie's not going to suck as bad as we thought it was going to.
That's entirely possible.
So I'm wondering if, well, that's the thing. So it was an interesting question, So I'm wondering if maybe the same situation is going on here with The Last Jedi. Is it possible that we are prejudging this movie unfairly?
Well, that's why I always, whenever, there's things like that with the whole, leaks and stuff. First of all, even if you have a good source, the product isn't finished yet. It can always be changed. And Lord knows I've gone to see some movies with fantastic trailers that I cringed all the way through. And I've seen some movies that I went to go see despite of the trailer. And then I was like, oh, well, that wasn't bad at all. I really try not to get, it's hard to do sometimes, but the hype, either good or bad, I try not to get too invested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because either way you could be disappointed or pleasantly surprised. So, I mean, stuff can come out, and if they're trusted sources, you can say, okay, well, that sounds bad. once again, anytime they do things with bad guys where they completely change who they are, it always makes you kind of cringe. Like the bad guys kind of make the movie, so
Yeah.
if they're gutting a bad guy or using their name, but then just totally going with a different story on them, it's like, why didn't you just give them a different name and use that instead of taking from the source material? Oh, we're going to use this name, but we're going to completely change them. Then why?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of. It's just it was an interesting question the way it was put to me, that that maybe maybe we're reading into these leaks a little too much. You know what I mean? Like you could take like Battle Angel Alita, that a movie that I actually liked, and you could do a quick description of that, and it would sound awful. Like,
oh yeah, man
finds robot girl's head in garbage and turns her into
super weapon.
Turns her into champion roller skate warrior. It's like, that sounds awful. It's is there no point in watching Rise of Skywalker with the leaks? I don't know. See, that's a good question. I don't know, man.
I would still watch it with the leaks or not. I mean, you've got movies that you've got leaks or different things that come out for it, and just because doesn't mean it can't be reshot, parts be reshot or changed. What was the big backlash with Sonic the Hedgehog movie? And they changed that real quick.
Yeah,
but
that's actually an instance, and a lot of pundits don't like it when you bring that up. That's an instance where fan outrage actually became a positive thing, and the director was like, "Yeah, we screwed this up. We gotta fix it." And then they did, and the fans were like, "It's awesome."
There you go. And that's a good one. Oh, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's a good one because, well, I don't necessarily want to say a good one but how in the hell somebody at the studio didn't see that? I mean, it was just so bad. How did that ever even make it out of the studio to be fixed? Somebody should have been like, the first few seconds, just hit pause and went, what are we paying you guys for? That sucked.
Yeah.
So,
and it was, and like I said, the guy who one of the creators of Sonic backed up the fans on this, and that right there was an example of like what oh god, what's his name? The guy who played Superman. The newest, Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was in an interview, and they asked him about toxic fandom. He's like, I don't think there's such a thing as toxic fandom. I think it's all it's just people who are passionate, and I think that example, the whole Sonic thing, was an example of that. The fans were passionate about it, and for once the creators listened, and then the outcome was very positive. You know what I mean? So when we get these leaks like this and people are unhappy about it, on one hand, it's possible that these leaks may be, hyperbolic, and like I said, you can make anything sound terrible if you really want to.
Oh yeah.
But when you have leaks like this, and when and like I said, with Wonder Woman, a lot of those leaks were lining up. That and it was just an interesting question about are we putting too much stock into these leaks, and we automatically judging these films ahead of time?
And how many leaks came out for any of the Marvel movies that were made?
A little bit, a few here and there.
Yeah, but some of them came out on purpose to throw things off.
Yeah, and like I said, I think a lot they were saying that. Well, that's one of the things that they were saying about Star Wars, is that they think some of these leaks were false and they weren't real. They were just there to throw people off. But then at the same time, though, you see like the newest trailer and the stills from the movie, and they line up perfectly with all the stuff that was leaked. And you're like, how do you not prejudge this movie based on that? Considering that, unlike Wonder Woman, where it was like, okay, that's not quite what the guy said it was. It's similar. I can see where that's interpreted a little bit different here and there. The leaks for Rise of Skywalker are almost freaking dead on. So I don't know. It's an interesting question. The other question I have for you guys is, since we are going to be talking about Star Wars here, I want to talk about some other stuff with Star Wars, but we are going to be talking about Rise of Skywalker. Should we take a look at the leaks? Are you guys interested in taking a look at them? Because I know that
I've
Tom,
already seen a bunch.
You've already seen a bunch of them. Okay, Frank, have you watched? Have you looked at any of them?
Yes.
Okay, that was a dumb question. For anybody that, Frank is like super Star Wars nerd. So,
and regardless of the leaks, regardless of the trailers, if you're passionate about a movie or something, you're still going to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely think this movie is going to make a buttload of money. Is it going to make $2 billion? I don't think so. I think it's going to make right around the same as The Last Jedi. I think it's going to make, I'm pretty sure it's going to make $1 billion, if for no other reason than the whole deal that Disney just made with China. Disney, like, I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but Disney basically had a big distribution deal put through for China. And I'm like, China is going to be telling their people, go see Star Wars. It's like, if like half a billion people paying to go see Star Wars because their government told them to, or they were going to basically kill them and harvest their organs. That'll push your box office up. Yeah, just a little bit. So, I think the movie's going to make a bunch of money. It's Disney. 2, it's Star Wars. They have so many friggin', they have so much clout. But do I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to reach the same kind of success that Force Awakens did. I think it'll break $1 billion, but I don't think it's going to go too terribly much further beyond that.
Yeah.
But then again, if China literally does make it, there's like, buy a ticket or else, that it could make $2 billion. Who knows?
Didn't Frozen 2 just cross the billion and make it the 5th, or was it 6th $1 billion movie for Disney this year?
Oh yeah. Oh dude. Yeah, actually it did. But there was actually a report that came out that said that Disney honestly doesn't give a shit if this movie makes $1 billion or not. Because this year they're like, yeah, we killed it. It's like, this was like one of the best years that Disney's ever had.
Well, Disney owns everything.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too, man. Disney owns so many franchises. Got another question. Zeke TM said, I'm 50-50 split on J.J. Abrams fabricating the leaks in order to dissuade only the true Star Wars fans from going into the theaters. I don't know about that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore at this point. But, man, you got to admit, there was a lot of leaks for this movie.
There was, but the way JJ, with his Cloverfield and with the Lost TV series and everything he does, he misdirects like crazy. Oh
yeah, man, he's
like, the king of misdirection.
That's one of the things that that's why so many people were upset at him with Into Darkness, was because he flat out lied about the whole movie.
That's not Khan.
That's not Khan. No, we're not doing that. And then he was like, yeah, I lied. it's I mean, which, on one hand, you're like, yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you my freaking story up front. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, why even entertain the question to begin with? So I don't know, man. Anyway, that's enough of that crap. So Star Wars. All right. So I've been a big Star Wars fan since I was 5 years old, because Star Wars was literally the first movie my dad ever took me to see at the theater. I was 5 years old. Okay. I didn't even know what movie we were going to see. I didn't know nothing. He dragged me out to Frank. You remember the old Avon Theater?
That's right.
Down next to the lake.
Yeah, the Avon Lake.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the theater we went to, and we went down there, and we were waiting in line, and then we got about 6 people from the front of the line, and the thing comes down, sold out. My dad was pissed. So we go across the street to my aunt's house, to my aunt's apartment, and literally my dad, and I'm like, I'm a 5-year-old kid. It's a school night. I don't know what we're doing. I'm literally sleeping on the floor, and my dad is sitting at the window like a freaking sniper, looking down at that freaking place, waiting for people to start getting in line. So as soon as people started getting in line, man, get up, let's go, everybody. We go down there. We're waiting in line, and we waited in line outside for like another hour. We get inside. We're sitting there. It's like 11 o'clock at night now. I'm tired. I'm a 5-year-old kid. I'm tired. I'm cranky. I'm like, why are we even here? I don't know what's going on. And I start falling asleep. And then the freaking music starts, and I literally shoot to the freaking ceiling. I don't think I blinked once. But that was like my Star Wars experience when I was a kid, and like it was like, holy shit, this is my life now. And then the prequels came out, and I was like, all right, they weren't the greatest, but it was Star Wars. I still love Star Wars. Then The Force Awakens came out, and I'm like, again, it's not the greatest, but it's still Star Wars. And then The Last Jedi came out. And then all the crap started. And I can legitimately say, I honestly don't think I'm much of a Star Wars fan anymore. All of the vitriol that has come out about this movie from the creators attacking the fans, from fans attacking each other, I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I just don't give a shit anymore. So while I'm interested to see this movie, and I would really like for it to be a good movie, I honestly don't care. This movie could make $2 billion, or it could shit the bed, and I would be like, all right.
Well,
which is kind of sad, because it's kind of like the death of a fan.
I'm a little bit in the same boat. I can definitely say I'm still a Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. I'm still I still love it. I just kind of don't care where it's going anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 3 movies, 4, 5, and 6 were awesome. 1 and 2, 3 was okay.
Yeah.
I actually did like Solo. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. And I freaking loved Rogue One. Rogue One was like, why can't you do this more often?
I would have to say of all the new movies, Rogue One is probably my favorite. And honestly, until the very end, it was an okay movie for me. I was like, all right, I get it. They're doing an actual legit war movie in the Star Wars universe. That's an interesting idea. I'll go with that. That Vader scene at the end is what puts it over the top, man. That movie, I'm like, oh hell no! If they give us that, this is gonna be, oh dude, I was literally like
And on top of that, it's after the downer of everybody dying.
Everybody dies. Yeah.
So you're like,
it's a
the
legit
movie's still
movie.
going. Why is this movie still going? And then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at that. And that was awesome. That was
one of my favorite YouTube videos is the guy who he showed his girlfriend.
Yeah, that one. Oh God, that is awesome.
And then then she watched the prequels, and then he shows her Rogue One, and she's like, "What? No. Oh my God!" And I'm like, "That's all. That's the kind of
she's crying, and
yeah, it's like that's a true fan reaction. That's the kind of thing you want." And I don't understand why they work so hard to move away from that. Yeah, man, I like that's the way I used to be about Star Wars, and now that's kind of like.
Well, part of the problem, I think, and this is, I mean, I can't remember if I said this last week or I said this before on here. I think part of the problem really with Star Wars is they are trying to make good cinema. If you go back and objectively look at Episode 4, it is not a good movie. It's got action. It's a lot of fun. I love it to death. But strictly speaking, it's not a good movie. It does it rips off a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Has a lot of cliches in it.
I wouldn't say it's not a good movie. I would say it's a very formulaic and
it is very entertaining. But from cinema, it's not a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love the hell out of it, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
And they are trying to make, like, we're like, okay, we want to start winning Oscars.
Deep and philosophical, and yeah.
And you can do that to an extent, but you need the Saturday afternoon B movie just with good effects and action. That's what Star Wars was, and that's certainly not the last three movies. That's not.
Yeah,
that's not what it's about.
I've always said that Star Wars is spectacle.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars is like, and when it came to The Last Jedi, there were two words that were being used by a lot of people who were pundits for it, and they were saying it's a much slower and more methodical movie. Okay, it's a slower and more more subdued film. And I said, okay, there are two words that you should never use with a Star Wars film: slow and subdued. Okay, that's completely opposite of what Star Wars is supposed to be.
Now, you can do that if it's the second film in the trilogy. You can have that build up that something is going to happen. You can't do that.
I disagree. Even if you look at like Empire Strikes Back, it's still a spectacle, and it's still a fairly fast-paced film. Yeah. There's a little more character development in it, but the time frame is wonky as hell, and even in the slowed down scenes where Luke is on Dagobah, it's intercut with the freaking Millennium Falcon being chased through 2/3 of the freaking movie. So you've got basically a prolonged space battle going on while Luke is learning it's toting Yoda around on his back. So it's like I would kind of say I would disagree with that. I was like, even in Empire, which everybody still thinks is the best of all of them, it's still a very fast paced and it's a very kinetic film.
It is the best of all of them.
And there you go. There's the authority right there. Bring the gavel down. And that's like The Last Jedi was literally a 3-hour freaking car chase movie. It was anyway. But okay, so let's Frank, you heard our Star Wars stories. What's yours, brother?
I agree with Tom. On the last 5 movies that have come out, Rogue One is the best of the last 5 movies. and probably be my second favorite behind Empire.
Wow. Do you think it's better than Return?
It's different than Return, and that's what makes it a good movie.
Okay.
Especially like you said, the end with Vader. It's
oh God, dude, man. I mean, like after the bad taste that we got. I mean, like even though I gave The Force Awakens a bit of a pass, I'm like, man, Kylo Ren just came off as a bitch at the end, you know? And I'm like, well, give me a freaking Sith Lord, man. Come on, man. And then we got that scene where I was like, that's a freaking Sith Lord right there, man. When Vader is just wrecking house, it's like, oh my God.
And part of the problem with The Last Jedi is the movie is Star Wars. There was nothing thrilling about a slow O.J. Simpson style car chase.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. I'm not the only person that was thinking, God, this is like watching O.J.'s freaking Bronco.
That's why seeing the trailer with Lando and all the rebels or whatever you want to call them and the Star Destroyers in the trailer for Rise of Skywalker makes me hopeful that there's going to be at least something in there that's redeeming.
From what I've seen of the everything that's been put out, the consensus that I'm seeing from even the people who whether they liked it or didn't like it is that there's a lot going on in this movie, like a lot. There's a whole bunch of different plot threads. There's a whole bunch of this movie's busy as hell.
That also I think is a problem for Star Wars.
Yeah,
because it's got a kind of part of the fan base is kids. It will always be kids. I mean, I was a kid when I saw it. You were a kid. We're all kids when we saw it. That's part of the base. You can't have this layer on layer of intrigue and different plots going on and who's this because kids will just be like, you gotta keep them. That's like I said, it's gotta be like the whole Saturday afternoon, just action theater. You do have to have plot, yes, but you can't just load it up, and because that's not the main thing people are going to go see.
Right.
It's Star Wars, not star plot.
Right. But then, like I said, we're probably going to get a big ass freaking space battle. I'm almost 100% certain we're going to get that.
But we better.
Well, yeah.
All those ships in the preview, somebody better shoot.
Although, all right. So Poe Dameron's character, who's supposed to be the best. He's the Han Solo. He's the best pilot in the entire galaxy at this point, and yet Rey is the one who's still piloting the Falcon. I'm like, come on, man. It's like you guys keep wondering why we keep calling Rey a Mary Sue. Let other people do something. It's like, come on, man. It's like, geez, like let the dude fly the Millennium Falcon. My God, it's like I don't know, man. Anyway,
well, he's a fighter pilot, not a ship pilot. So,
well, so was it. So was Luke. So is everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter.
But Luke didn't fly. Luke didn't fly the Millennium Falcon
ever.
Yeah, even Rey never flew a ship or life until she jumped into the Falcon.
Well, neither did Anakin until he jumped into that fighter and destroyed.
Yeah, and we all thought it was stupid, didn't we? So it's like every time someone throws that up as an excuse, I was like, yeah, and we all thought it was dumb. So I was like, yeah, let the 8-year-old fly the starfighter, you freaking morons. That won't end badly.
Well, for whom?
Yeah. But okay, so we already established we've already kind of like hit our pedigree for when we saw Star Wars and what we thought about it and whatnot. All right, how much have you guys actually looked into this movie?
This one, like I said, it's unavoidable, but I'm trying to avoid it. as best I can. I mean, I'll look at stuff, but I'm just not. I'm not eating it up.
What do you think about? So you've read the leaks and everything. What do you think about the leaks? What do you think about the storyline that if it matches up with those leaks? Don't everybody talk at once.
Sorry. Well, if the Rey parentage matches up, it's dumb.
Okay.
I don't agree with it.
Actually,
I don't want to say too much because the movie hasn't come out yet, and I know there's people that haven't read the leaks and haven't seen the trailers.
Dude, nobody that's going to watch this show hasn't read those freaking leaks, man. Trust me on that.
The redemption of Kylo.
Yeah. Have you heard? Well, before you go any further, have you seen the newest leaks? Okay.
I've seen with Rey and Kylo being two halves of the same whole. I have heard about Kylo sacrificing himself to save Rey,
and the whole love thing that they share like a kiss or something.
That I did not hear about.
I'm hoping that ain't true because I'm like, yeah, the guy who committed genocide on about 50 different planets and murdered his own father. That guy is friggin' boyfriend material. that whole freaking thing where everyone's like, the whole Reylo thing is some of the dumbest crap. It's those people I think are the same people that were shipping Jessica Jones and the Purple Man. I'm like, the guy you think the guy who basically raped her, sexually assaulted her, forced her against her will dozens of times, made her murder people, was mind controlling her. You think they're a cute couple. You people are freaking sick. It's this is the same thing. It's like the dude literally murdered what? Like in the first movie, they murder like 20 planets.
There's 5.
Yeah, 5.
Just 5 planets with billions of people on it.
It split.
I like my number better.
It's split into 5 rays. No.
Okay. The illusion is that it hits more planets than just the ones that we see, though, because you see it go like this, spread out, hit a planet, and keep going. But I don't think the planets are like the planets are all on a line that's going to hit. Okay,
and it's not a magic bullet.
I'd probably have to take a look and see, exactly how many we're supposed to blow. But anyway,
are you doubting me?
Huh?
Are you doubting me?
I don't know.
Are you doubting Thomas? Are you doubting Tom and me?
I think we can all admit that there's billions of people. All right, he kills billions of freaking people.
Billions of people.
Yeah, and his own dad. And
no,
that's okay.
No, because the leak said that Han Solo's coming back.
Whatever. Yeah. But and then there's there's also the leak where they say that the movie ends with every single Jedi character from all the movies on Tatooine with Rey as she looks off into the sun, just like Luke did. So Luke has been completely erased, and the last thing he says is, "You have succeeded." And it's Luke and Anakin both saying to her at the same time because she's hearing all their voices at the same time because they all live on in her now. That she succeeded where they failed. In other words, she's the chosen one. She's the one who brings balance to the Force, not Anakin. And I'm just like, whatever, man.
So where does the little kid with the broom fit in under this?
Apparently, he doesn't. Apparently, he never gets out of being a slave, and he's still sweeping that broom, man. That's the thing that a lot of people who were like lovers of the Last Jedi are really mad about is they said that this movie basically takes The Last Jedi and just chucks it, throws it under the bus. And I'm like, well, what do you expect? That's what they've been doing since the first movie. It's like every movie after that one is like Ryan Johnson just threw everything out. So JJ's like, well, screw you. I'm just going to take what you didn't throw that out. So I mean, at one point, Kylo literally puts his freaking helmet back together. That's basically like a big middle finger, just like, no, you can't break my stuff.
Well, that wasn't him. That's not him putting it back together. Did you see the little hairy hand that was putting it together in the trailer?
Dude, shut up.
Looked like a little Ugnaught hand or something.
Okay, he gets the freaking helmet back.
There you go. There you go.
Right. It doesn't matter who put it back together. Well, of course he's not going to put it back together himself. He's like, I got people for that.
Little hairy hands.
Yeah, little hairy Ugnaught hands, man. But no, like I was talking to some of the guys, like I said on Black Angus's podcast. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He's a very, very knowledgeable person. Darth Daddy Lunga is the guy. Really knowledgeable dude. He could probably give you a run for your money.
Okay.
Big time Star Wars dude. But we were talking about how one of the things that people have brought up is how they basically abandoned all the legacy stuff, and then Kathleen Kennedy came out and made that statement saying that they had no source material to work from. And there's a couple of different ways of looking at what she was saying. Some people are like, well, you talk about you've got all of this stuff that you threw away. But someone made this point, and I think that this may actually be what she meant by that, is that after they moved away from all that stuff, they were trying to create from scratch and had nothing to work from. And I'm like, and part of that was like, but then part of the argument for that is like, that's what happens when you don't have a set plan and one person running everything, so that you have a continuous narrative. If you keep bringing in a new person to just keep, throwing out what came before and then moving on again, that's going to happen to you. You're gonna work yourself into a corner.
You lose the continuity.
Yeah, but then we got to talking about it, and Darth Daddy and I actually agree that basically this trilogy is Jason and Diana's storyline from the Darth Caedus storyline. They just changed all the elements around and changed the people. If you really look at it, you know what I mean? A lot of the elements from this trilogy echoes that storyline. Frank, you know that storyline better than either one of us do. It's just that they took the beats from everything and they tried to alter it and shoehorn a bunch of other stuff into it, and that's, I think, part of the reason why it just fell apart. But the thing is that when we were talking about it, it's like that's the storyline that Star Wars fans wanted. That's the next generation that real Star Wars fans who have been fans from the beginning wanted. They wanted Jason and Jaina Solo.
And the Vong.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
But that storyline is what they wanted. And here's the thing. I get not saying, look, we can't do these stories from these books exactly as they are. Because there's nothing like we have to create something. But you could take the vast majority of that storyline and you could just alter it a little bit, and you could make a trilogy out of
easy
out of that stuff.
You could just brought in Mara Jade and Thrawn, and the people would have been excited about that.
That's the other thing that a lot of fans wanted. They wanted Mara Jade. They wanted Luke and Mara Jade, so that we get Ben Solo, not this version of Ben Solo, the one that everybody wanted. But no, it's like I'm looking at this movie. But that's the other thing too. We were talking about this movie, and and like we always say on here, we don't root for this stuff to fail. I mean, I know there's people that do. But most of the fans, we don't root for these movies to fail. We don't root for the product to suck. We want it to be good. You know, we don't, like I said, we don't go to the mailbox getting our hater check. But that seems to be what a lot of people think, is that like everybody wants this thing to die. It's like, no, we don't want it to die. We want it to, we just want it to be good. And yep. I'm hoping that when I go see this movie, I'm like, okay, this movie was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
That would be awesome.
Whether it is or it isn't, I just don't think that this is the movie that the Star Wars fans wanted from the beginning.
This whole trilogy, I don't think, is what Star Wars fans wanted.
Yeah. But what are you expecting from this, Frank? When you go see this, like I said, you're the Star
Wars.
Lots
of Ewoks.
Oh God, man, that's dude, for anybody who watches this video later and is wondering why the hell I put that freaking thing on there. George Lucas originally was going to do Wookiees on Endor. Like the final place for where the Death Star was supposed to be Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiees' homeworld. But he's like, this is too expensive. I can't do this. There aren't enough people who are big enough to play Wookiees. So he's like, well, I'll just cut them in half, call them Ewoks. And everybody basically was like, that sucks. We got freaking teddy bears killing stormtroopers. Like, look, I know that we've established that stormtroopers can't hit the broadside of a barn and that they die instantly when shot. But that's taking it to the point where nobody's going to believe that a bunch of teddy bears are killing stormtroopers. Okay, you guys just made the guys who are supposed to be the most feared soldiers in the entire galaxy just lame.
Got beat up by the Care Bears.
Yeah, literally. That's like they literally got beat up by a bunch of teddy bears. But I think we're going to get a buttload of fan service in Rise of Skywalker. I've already seen, like I said, unfortunately I've seen a bunch of leaks and everything, so I'm like, okay.
I'm going with an open mind. I'm going to go in there and enjoy the movie and hope it's better than Phantom Menace or Last Jedi. And
well, that's what do you want to get out of this movie?
I just want a end to it all, tie up all the loose ends, and just move on. Just be a Return of the Jedi style movie.
You just wanted to move on so you get it over with so they can move on to something, or you?
Yeah, just get it over with. I mean,
this trilogy needs to wrap it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen where it's been. I would love for it to end on a high note. If they could pull it off, that would be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for.
I honestly think that a lot of it has come down to just apathy. Like, people are just like, we just want it to be over. Just finish it, be over, be done with it, so we can move on to something else. Which is sad because, I mean, we're talking about freaking Star Wars here. One of the reasons why the Star Wars has lived for so long is because of all the fan agency. You know, fans kept this thing alive. You know, I mean, of the original films, the last one came out in, what was it, 85, and then was released in 86.
83.
No. Return of the Jedi was in
83. 83.
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
77 for A New Hope, 80 for Empire, and 83 for Return of the Jedi.
Okay, because I know they re-released Return of the Jedi. Yeah, May 25th of 83. And then they re-released it in like 84.
Right. Originally came out in 83.
They ran through to 84, and then they released it again. All right. So 1984 was the last year that we got Star Wars. And then we didn't get another Star Wars movie until, what was it, 1999 for Force Awakens? I mean, for the Phantom Menace?
I think so.
Hang on.
But I was right. Return of the Jedi came out in 83.
Yep. No, you're right. Yeah, May 19th of 1999. So you're talking
16 years after
16
Return of the Jedi.
freaking years. 16 years and nothing. It was the fans who kept it alive, and it was more, and it stayed like the toy sales and everything, and the video games, like they sold like gangbusters for like a decade and a half after the last movie came out. So then we got the prequels. Was it Revenge of the Sith? Which I think that finished in, what was it, 2000 and Revenge of the Sith.
2003, I think. Might have been 4.
2005.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So 2005 was Revenge of the Sith. And then 2015 was The Force Awakens. So another decade goes by, and the fans are keeping it alive again. So this idea that of toxic fandom is stupid. It's literally the fans who kept this thing alive. You know? And it's like, and like I said, it's like, I think it's like what Henry Cavill said. It's not, there's no such thing as toxic fandom. It's just passionate, you know? And the reason why, and a lot of the reason why I think this series is dying is because of the way that they've gone after the fans. But I think a lot of the fans are not even the ones who are out here yelling and screaming. I think a lot of the fans are just like, all right, you know what? We're moving on. We're done. You know, I think apathy. Yeah. So what's going to happen after this is that fan base going to be there to carry this through until the next series of films start coming out? I don't think it is.
Is there any schedule on when the next trilogy starts?
Well, originally they're going to have Rian Johnson do a trilogy, and they yanked that away from him.
Yeah, they killed that pretty quick.
Was it Trevorrow? Was that Colin Trevorrow? Was he supposed to make a trilogy? Can't remember who it was.
Well, it was Rian Johnson, and then it was the guys from Game of Thrones. They were supposed to do a trilogy of their own, and then they were going to help Rian Johnson with his trilogy, and then they just left completely. And then Rian Johnson, and then was it the guy who's the president for Disney? He came out and said, yeah, we're done making Star Wars movies for a while. I know that, so we got the Mandalorian TV show. The only Star Wars stuff that's going to be made, from what I understand, is the Mandalorian TV show and then the Obi-Wan show. So we're getting two television shows. I don't think we're getting anything else Star Wars besides that. I could be wrong. But no, it's just, I don't know, man. Like when I had the idea to do this stream, I was actually going to like, hey, well, what are we looking forward to in this in the last Rise of Skywalker? You know, what's good? And it's just turned into this melancholy. It's just let it die. That's what it's turned into here, man.
The last two movies have been. I mean, that's the attitude the other two movies brought. It's just kind of like, yeah, here's your stuff. It's like,
it could have been so much more. It could have been so much more. And you know what? And like you said, man, I would love to go into this movie and it just kick ass and just be amazing. That would be a pleasant surprise. That would be a welcome. I would welcome being completely wrong. Welcome being completely wrong about this. Just like I welcome being completely wrong about Wonder Woman. I don't want that movie to suck. I liked the first one. I'm a fan. I'm a comic book fan. I'm a science fiction fan. I want these movies to do well. I don't get anything out of them not being good. You know, and I think that's the thing that all these people that talk about, you know, again, toxic fans and whatnot, is like, no, you don't understand. They're not happy when these movies suck. You know, they're not happy when all this stuff falls apart. They love these things, you know. It's not toxic fandom, it's just people that are disappointed.
Yeah. Who was excited and happy that Fant Four Stick laid a big turd?
Oh, jeez.
Or Justice League as well.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. There's a lot of people that will argue that Justice League is a good movie.
There's nobody's going to argue that Fant Four Stick. There's nobody's going to argue that Fant Four Stick was a good movie.
No. But they're like that. That's the release the Snyder Cut movement is a real thing, man. And I'm gonna tell you what. I'm at the point now where I'm like, yeah, release the Snyder Cut, man. I'm actually at the point now where I want to see it. I want to see if it legitimately was any better than the Justice League we got from Joss Whedon. Because why not? It's, you know, what do we lose? We don't lose anything.
No, they released the Donner cut of Superman 2, so why not?
And it was better.
Yeah.
It was actually better. I mean, Superman 2 was not a terrible movie, but the Donner cut of Superman 2 was a better movie, in my opinion. So maybe the Snyder Cut is. If it is, that's awesome. I would love for it to be better.
Although one of the things that the Justice League needed was a Cyborg movie before Justice League came out.
It needed a single standalone film for all of them.
Yes.
Before it came out.
But especially Cyborg, because a lot of mainstream people do not know who he is.
Yeah. And not only that, but he's so tied into the mother box to begin with. Yeah, they absolutely rushed all that stuff. Absolutely rushed it. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't hate that movie. I was just like, man, this movie is not what it should have been.
Yeah.
Justice League should have been the Avengers times 10. It's the freaking Justice League. You know? And I'm like, that's just the way I felt about it. I didn't hate the movie, but I was like, this movie could have been way better. And maybe it was. Maybe the Snyder Cut is that much better. I don't think so, but maybe. And yeah, people like it. I hope it's cool. Just like this movie, and to the people that actually watched The Last Jedi and liked it, I'm glad you found something that you liked. I'm glad that anytime somebody likes something, that's cool. I'm glad they liked it. A lot of us didn't, and we had legitimate reasons for why we didn't. This narrative that gets put out there, especially by Lucasfilm and Disney and the people working on these films, especially by them, that's what's killing this, and that's going to kill a lot of the fan. Like I said, it's going to kill a lot of the fan agency, and that fan agency that helped propel Star Wars forward when there were no new movies and no new projects coming out, and kept this thing alive. I don't think that exists anymore, or at the very least, it has been severely reduced. So, which I mean, we're seeing that all over the place. The toy sales are way down.
Yep.
All the merchandise is and that's why Disney bought Star Wars, was the merchandise. They wanted that merchandise money. Making money off the movies is fine, but the movies cost a lot.
That's where the bucks are.
Yeah, merchandise is where the money is, and they can't move any of the new stuff. They can't move it. They can't move it. All they sell is all the classic stuff, and even that is not moving the way it used to. And it's because they've killed the golden goose.
Well, when you pick up something that has a whole mythos attached to it, and the first thing you do is throw everything out, and then you go, well, why aren't you buying this stuff? You threw all the backstory out. I was like, none of this matters anymore. Just keep buying it.
Yeah.
People don't react well to that. You got this thing that I love with all this canon, all this background.
Yeah.
And then you just went, oh, you like this? Oh, and you're buying this stuff?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of it's kind of like that skit that Patton Oswalt did. He's like, "Hey, do you like Angelina Jolie? Do you think she's hot? Well, here's John Voight's ball sack." It's the the ball that she swam out of. So, and then it starts off with him talking about George Lucas. He's about the prequels, and he's like talking about how like if he had a time machine, he's like, "This is how much of a nerd I am." He said, "If I had a time machine, I would go back in time before George Lucas made the sequels and hit him in the head with a shovel." Because he's like, "Oh, hey, George Lucas, I love Star Wars." He's like, "Oh, you like Star Wars? Well, I'm working on the 3 new movies, the prequels." Like, "Oh, that's awesome. What's in it?" He's like, "Yeah, like you like Darth Vader?" "Oh, yeah, he's awesome." "Yeah, well, in the first movie, you get to see him as a little kid." It's like, is he like a little evil Damien kid? He's like force choking people it's like, with the helmet and the lightsaber. He's like, no, he's just he gets taken away from his mom. And he's really sad. Yeah, that sounds terrible. That sucks. That sounds awful. Yeah, well, don't worry, man. You know who's in the second movie? Boba Fett. That's awesome. That's awesome. He's like, yeah, and you get to see him as a little kid. He's like, is he like shooting people or like wearing the jump pack? Because that's no. He just lives. His dad gets his head cut off and he's really sad. He's like, wow, that sounds terrible. He's like, well, you know what serves up in the third movie, the Death Star. That's awesome. Wait a minute, George, what's it doing? He's like, it's just kind of being built, and Darth Vader's just kind of staring at it.
Well, Rob, I
don't give a crap where the stuff I love comes from. I just love the stuff that I love.
What Tom said about it dying, that ties into just like at Disney World and Disneyland with the Star Wars.
Oh yeah, man. The attendance is way down. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why that is, but they were counting on Star Wars being this big draw to make up for the fact that they jacked the price up to ridiculous heights. And it didn't work. Like for the majority of the time, Galaxy's Edge was empty. Like and the parks themselves were very empty in comparison to what they were expecting. And but part of that was also the fact that you go to Galaxy's Edge and there's nothing there. It's all a bunch of gift shops and one freaking ride and all prequel stuff. There's no original trilogy stormtroopers. There's Boba Fett's not running around. Darth Vader's not there, which I guess now he is. They replaced Kylo, because at the beginning they would have Kylo Ren would come out and do some kind of speech or something to invite him to welcome everybody into Galaxy's Edge, and then they got rid of Kylo Ren and now Darth Vader does it. But still, it was like, and it's like we've all heard all the rumors about why they did that. It's because Lucas still owns a big chunk of Star Wars, and they got to pay him a certain amount for using anything from the original trilogy, which is why they got rid of everything and tried to make all new stuff and only used little pieces here and there. They used the bare minimum that they needed. I don't know how much of that is true or not, but it would make sense. I mean, it would, like, if all the stuff that we make that's new, we don't have to pay him for that. So, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, we keep going. I keep trying to talk about Rise of Skywalker, and we keep going off the other things because nobody gives a shit about this movie. It's just. I think, man, it comes back to the apathy thing. It's like I think everybody's like me. They just don't care anymore. I'm ever trying to make content, and I'm like, I'm struggling to find things to talk about.
Well, definitely have to go see it.
Yep,
I'm going to go see it. I can't say when, but I'll definitely see it.
I'm thinking about going to see it Thursday night after I get done with the Wrestling Council. Like, I'll do something really fun. That way I'll be nice and supercharged when I go in there, and if it hurts my heart, I won't die. When are you going to go see it, Frank?
I'm off Thursday. Probably then, but I don't know what time.
Yeah.
So if I don't go Thursday, I'm not gonna be able to see it again until after Christmas.
Yeah. Part of me doesn't want to go see it though because I don't know, man. Actually, I kind of want to go just as an experiment. I want to go see, like, one, how full is the theater? And two, I want to see everybody's reaction. I'm actually more interested in what the crowd does in some ways than the movie itself. I want to see the reaction of the crowd. So I might actually go all the way up to the top seats to watch it, just so I can watch the crowd and listen to everybody. Like, have that one guy stand up at the end going, "Fuck you."
God,
I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I did that.
What movie did we walk out of? You did. It's something that was it. What was the one with the deaf girl?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
No, it wasn't. It was recent.
No, that was a while ago. I think it was A Quiet Place because
I like A Quiet Place, dude.
Yeah, but he was the producer or something on it.
Oh no, I did say I did say F Michael Bay. I can't freaking stand Michael Bay. Hang on a minute. Let me see here. First showing. What movie did we just come out of? And I was like, oh, fuck you. I don't know why I whispered it again. It's like it's not like it's not gonna, register. Okay. What did we just come out of? All right.
Knives Out.
That was actually that was pretty good. Beautiful Day Neighborhood was pretty good. Playing with Fire. Dr. Sleep was good. I know what it was. It wasn't I didn't come out of a movie and yell it. There was a trailer for Terminator Dark Fate on Dr. Sleep. And I just yelled out, I just yelled out, F you. In that trailer, and everybody laughed. Cause God, man, I did watch that movie. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was awful. It's awful. It was actually worse than Charlie's Angels, I think. And Charlie's Angels was bad. But okay, well, this has been enough about us complaining about our penises. Oh my God. I know I legitimately wanted to do this stream and like talk about Star Wars and like all the fond memories we had of it. I got a lot of fond memories of Star Wars. I remember my dad bought me the Millennium Falcon.
I have a lot of fond memories too.
I remember playing with that thing, and then I could kick my own ass for this. I sold that thing for $15.
God, how many of the original, Kenner Star Wars figures I had when I was a kid, and I destroyed them all playing with them. But
that's what you're supposed to do with them. You're supposed to play with them.
When you're a kid, you play with them. They break.
Play all the video games. Love the hell out of the video games. KOTOR. The comics. I mean, I used to read the friggin' Marvel comics, man. I had a couple of them that were done by Arthur Adams and inked by Will Spertasio, and I had a lot of fond memories about Star Wars, but none of them came up in this stream because we're all just like so jaded against it now. It's like it's sad, man. It's really sad. But anyway, guys, I think we've tortured everyone long enough. I swear to God, I'm gonna like sneak into you guys' house. I'm gonna inject both of you with speed. Next time I have a stream, you guys are just talking like crazy, and I can just sit back and be like, "Yeah, cool, go." Like, no, Tom, we're gonna do. I've made up my mind. I've decided we're gonna do an entire episode of nothing but roller derby.
Okay.
And I'm going to sit back and I'm not going to say 2 words. And I'm just going to let you go.
Well, a point on that. If we're going to do that, you've got to go first. You've got to go see one.
And I do want to go. I mean, it's just my weekends are so friggin' locked up. But yeah, man, like I need you guys to save me, dude. You guys got to talk, man. Everyone's like, it's like I talk for like an hour and everybody else talks for like 40 seconds. So engage, man. Engage. But,
yes, dear.
Shut the hell up. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to this bitch about Star Wars like everybody else on the planet. Even when I try to be that's very telling though. That even when I try to be positive about it, it just ends up coming right back to just being so depressed. And that's how did we get to the point where Star Wars was depressing?
Don't be depressed. Mandalorian is good.
I haven't watched episode 6 yet. I gotta watch the last episode. So, you know what though, Mandalorian is another one. Like a lot of people love it, but some people just think it sucks. They think it's just all. And I kind of get what they're saying. It's like all over the place. But we need to do an episode just on the Mandalorian. Talk about that. But okay, guys. Sorry for depressing everybody. We'll be back to talking about some more happier stuff later. I'm gonna go play some Dungeons and Dragons and hopefully not suck at it tonight. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. So until then, I'm Bob.
I'm Tom.
I'm Frank. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.